Elden Ring plus Nintendo is awesome. The Switch Lite is on sale for I think the first time ever. There's a Super Switch rumor that I absolutely love. And get this, the Steam Deck just came out and it already has drift. Ha ha ha, but Valve actually did something about it right away, unlike Nintendo. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. I'm feeling so good today, got great sleep, and I'm ready to roll because we got a bunch of good news to discuss. I told you about it at the top, but yes, this show is jam-packed, and we have even more than I mentioned, but we gotta touch on that new stick drift. We gotta touch on the Super Switch, which I love, and we got to touch on Elden Ring getting fancy with Nintendo. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I hope you're all doing amazing. And if you're looking for a Switch Lite, boom, now is the time to get one. This thing has literally never been on sale, and it's on sale today only, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, hit that like button if you enjoy the show. Let me know your take on today's topics in the comments down below. And breathe, get some oxygen. It's true that oxygen helps your brain perform better, feel better, and work better. And we all about that feeling good energy here. Now, speaking of feeling good, some of you looking forward to Triangle Strategy should feel good about the first review score. It just dropped from Famitsu and they gave it 35 out of 40, which is actually pretty darn impressive. Now, Octopath Traveler back in the day got a 36 out of 40, so virtually the same score. Now, I know that Triangle Strategy is a pretty niche product, and the genre that it's targeting of SRPG won't appeal to most of you, but the cool part about this game is if it does continue to review really well and you're interested, there is a great demo that is just the prologue of the game, and you can play it, and if you like it, it carries over, and you can continue your save by buying the game. And I just love that practice. I think more games with kind of quirky genres or things that are more niche should try this. It's a great way to get fans into it. That's how I bought Octopath Traveler. I was like, played the prologue, and then picked up the game, and I was mightily surprised. We'll have to see if Triangle Strategy has the same strategy for me, but let me know in the comments down below if you're gonna pick this game up or if you're looking forward to trying it out when it releases this Friday. Sometimes we're lucky enough to get the stuff the same day as other platforms, but more often than not, Nintendo has a really long delay. We gotta wait. Patience is the virtue of all Switch owners when it comes to third-party stuff, but it's fun to announce that Doom Eternal is finally getting its big update 6.66. Very spooky, which brings in Horde mode, fills in battle mode to 2.0 and introduces new arenas, new cosmetics, and new playable demons. All right, this actually released on other platforms back in October, and it's a pretty fun free update for one of the fanciest games on Switch. Doom Eternal is a gorgeous game that I actually really love, and it runs great on Switch, I'd say. If you've been waiting for it, it's here. If you've been waiting to pick up Doom Eternal, now may be a good time because there's a bunch of content in that package, and again, it gets a SwitchForce seal of approval. For this one, friends, you gotta be fast. Okay, today only, the Switch Lite is on sale. And like I said, this never happens. Nintendo rarely puts hardware on sale, instead opting to bundle things up and providing value that way. But the Switch Lite itself has never been below $199. It just really doesn't ever drop. It's cheap enough to just work. But today at Woot.com, anybody remember Woot? Woot was really popular when I was in high school. Anyways, they've teamed up with Amazon Prime. If you're a Prime member, you can get $10 off any color of Switch Lite. They got them all. They got turquoise, yellow, coral. They got the new blueberry blue, GameCube indigo. They got gray, and you can grab any of them right now for $189. I know it's not a huge savings, but if you've been waiting to get a Switch Lite, if you're looking to enter the Switch ecosystem for the lowest price possible, or if you want to grab your little sister, your cousin, your son, your grandma, your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, partner, anyone in your life, a Switch, this is going to be the cheapest bare minimum you can do it without going used or refurbished. So I like the Switch Lite a lot. I think it is a very cool system. It's not as glorious as the OLED, but it still does the job. And for most people that will prefer portable play, it's great. And the colors, chef's kiss. Let me know in the comments down below if you're gonna pick up a Switch Lite. I know it's only $10, but like I said, this never goes on sale. So it literally is the best deal you can possibly get. I love when things get better, don't you? Things improving, things changing course, things looking brighter is a brilliant thing. And this rumor right here, Everybody's been talking about Switch Pro. We had a whole video yesterday on the NVIDIA leak and basically revealing that, Nintendo and NVIDIA are working on NVN2, new Switch hardware. It's been in the works since at least 2019, and it's gonna be using DLSS. You can check out the full video if you wanna hear all the details and kind of my roll eyes take on Switch Pro being back in the news. But the problem with Switch Pro is that it never actually comes out. But the second biggest problem with Switch Pro is that name. I just don't think it's a very good name. And so I love this tweet, this very sneaky tweet from Mark Amaro, who is a Nintendo leaker on Twitter. He's gotten a lot right, and I do think he is a more credible person in comparison to some of the others. He tweeted the next Switch is going to be super good. You know why I love this? Because Super Switch is so much more Nintendo than Switch Pro. Yes, PlayStation Pro is fine for Sony. All right, Pro is fine for some sort of Apple product or a Microsoft joint, but Nintendo? DSi, right? They got a lot of fun names. Wii U. Super Switch is a callback to Super Nintendo. And if you remember, the NES took the world by storm and was very successful, but then Super Nintendo for me, that's Nintendo's sweet spot, all right? Then they got quirky with N64, experimented with tech on GameCube, and eventually worked their way towards Wii motion control, Wii U disappointment, and Switch success. Could the Super Switch be an even stronger version of the Switch? Well, yes, it will be, but could it be even cooler, do even more, and kind of be like the refinement of Nintendo's best generation yet? I would love to see it, and I think that name is fitting. I know it's just like swapping a word out, but don't you just get a better vibe when you hear Super Switch than Switch Pro? Plus, there's been so much negativity and eye rolling over Switch Pro. I would just like that name to be scooted straight out of our vernacular. Super Switch is what I want to call this thing, and Super Switch is what I really hope Nintendo does. Let me know in the comments down below if Super Switch is just leaps better than Switch Pro, because it is. You may not see it, but I've been on that Elden Ring grind. That game is addictive, it's awesome, and once you get past Godric, man, you're in a flow, and I'm just flying around the world, finding all sorts of cool things and trying to slice and dice bosses. And somehow, this fine man decided to merge Nintendo with Elden Ring, and he defeated the Bloodhound Knight with the Ring-Con. Now, the Ring-Con is the Ring Fit controller. I don't know how this happened, but Super Louie 64 over on Twitch managed to beat down this boss using the Ring-Con. He found a way to mod Elden Ring to work with the Ring-Con, and he had to actually run to run, he had to squeeze the Ring-Con to attack, and he had to squat down to heal, making this a full body encounter. I mean, it's not VR, but it's pretty close. You're actually having to do all the stuff to stay in the fight, and he somehow won. It impresses me. It's something I couldn't do. Let me know if you golf clap for Super Louie in the comments down below. Speaking of stronger Switches, the Steam Deck is basically that. They took a personal computer and popped it inside a Switch, and it works awesome. People love it, and I can't wait to get my hands on one. But as these start to arrive to customers, there's been one massive problem. Drift. Jokes were made that, haha, the Steam Deck won't do what Nintendo Drift did. But the Steam Deck did drift, and players were posting videos showing drifting all over. Oh my gosh, how can we not make sticks right? It seemed like it was going to be a very bad day for Valve, as drift happening on day one, not a good sign. And then they announced that they patched it and fixed it. Yeah, their drift on Steam Deck was a firmware issue, and Lawrence Yang tweeted that, hey, we just shipped a fix to address the bug, so make sure you're up to date, and it removed the drift. Now, this sent the internet into a frenzy like, oh my gosh, Valve, thank you. You fixed it in less than a day. No more drift. Nintendo, why can't you do the same? Nintendo, you should learn from this. Nintendo, how come you don't care about players as much as Valve? Now, there's kind of two sides of this coin. On one hand, I really do think it's impressive how much Valve prioritized the players here. They looked, they saw, and they got it fixed right away. That is great. And that is something Nintendo could take from, right? Like, players have talked about drift for a while, and Nintendo always, they kind of don't want to acknowledge it. They want to pretend it's not there, sweep it under the rug, and be like, if your Joy-Con are having a problem, you can send them in, and we'll fix it. And people have to turn to YouTube to find all sorts of different fixes and do it themselves, or just suck it up and buy new controllers. But the other side of the coin is that these problems are very different. Because you see, for the Steam Deck, the problem was software. All right, it was something within the firmware that was causing the issue and causing the stick drift to happen. It wasn't a problem with the physical sticks, whereas for Nintendo and the Switch, the Joy-Con drift is a physical issue with the controllers themselves. you got dirt and muck getting on those contacts, and that is causing the sticks to drift. And that's why you go in and you blow them out, you put a little piece of cardboard in there, you try to prevent and protect that system from having that same issue. And so hopefully you can see it's not the same issue as Steam Deck. One is fixed like just by an update, and the other would require like a whole new production of a whole new kind of Joy-Con. Now, frankly, I hope Nintendo finds a way to do just that. I'm surprised they haven't done it already. It seems like there'd be a way to improvise or update new Joy-Con and just make it not driftable. Although we really haven't had many new Joy-Con as of late, so maybe it's something Nintendo is working on. And I sure hope by the time we get to the Super Switch, they'll have that whole thing figured out and find a way to make these controllers reliable. So while I understand the frustration with like, why doesn't Nintendo do better? It's really not possible for them to do what Valve did. But I do think it would be helpful if Nintendo would acknowledge the problem and talk more openly about it. We saw Microsoft kind of embrace the red ring back in the 360 era. If you remember that, like all these consoles were just kind of pooping out and they said like, whoa, sorry, massive problem. They lost major dollars, but they tried to make it right. Nintendo doesn't really want to acknowledge it, and I know that their philosophies are different, but I do think if they said, hey, this is a problem, we're sorry, we'll replace them for you. It's not you're crazy, it's us. That would be really great. I don't see it happening. I do see Nintendo working behind the scenes to find a fix and release a new Joy-Con that you can buy to give them more money, but I don't see them really kind of like biting the bullet and acknowledging this problem. There's been lawsuits, there's been all sorts of issues, and I think Nintendo's like main thing is to keep a smiley face. They want everybody, including the shareholders, to think that things are good. They don't want to think that, oh my gosh, they made a defective controller. That would be bad for the brand, bad for the image, and bad for the bottom line. So with all that being said, it's time for our poll where we're talking about this Super Switch, next Nintendo Switch, and when you want it to launch. All right, look, it's been in the news again, it's trending, people are talking all about it. Joy-Cons need to be better. When do you want this next Switch iteration to come out? And a bunch of you feel like next year is a fine time. 36% picked 2023, and that seems to be the most likely answer, right? It fits in with Nintendo's pattern and timetable. 25% picked 2024, and 23% are like, no, we don't need it. I just bought a Switch, I just bought an OLED, it's fine, it plays all the games, Nintendo's lineup works great on it, it's a killer system for exclusives, and we don't need to spend more just to have a slight uptick in performance. Although I wonder if it'll be more than a slight uptick with DLSS and a better chip. It really could do hopefully more, even if it keeps the same game library. 16% picked 2022. And I did too. I guess this is hard to explain, like why would I want to buy a new one right away? But hear me out, okay? The reason is because if Breath of the Wild 2 does come out this year, we know we already have Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Bayonetta 3, Splatoon 3, Mario + Rabbids Sparks of Hope. It is a humongous year, probably the best Nintendo has ever seen. And if I had a chance, I would love to play these brilliant new games in the best way possible. Like if I could experience Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 in 4K, I'm here for it. I'm down for it. I think that would be absolutely delightful. I don't know that Nintendo can ever have a better Switch year than this one, so if there's gonna be a year where we get to play the games in bigger, better glory, maybe 2022 would be a lot of fun. I think it's highly, heavily, almost impossibly unlikely, but that end of the year lineup is shaping up super sweet. It would make a good launch lineup for something new. We'll have to wait and see, but that's my reason. Hopefully it makes sense to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below your take on that. And of course, make sure to subscribe and turn your notification bell on so you're ready for our polls so you can get your opinions and your 2 cents or your 3 cents or even 4 cents some days in, because we got some big issues we talk about, some fun ones as well, like hoodies, what you're eating, and of course, Nintendo's latest and greatest. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Hit that like button on your way out. Make sure you're staying safe, staying healthy, staying happy, staying positive out there. And until next time, my wonderful friends, I love you a lot. SwitchForce out.